Time magazine called him the unsung hero behind the internet. CNN called him a father of the internet. President Bill Clinton called him one of the great minds of the information age. He has been voted history's greatest scientist of African descent. He is Philip Emeagwali. He's coming to Trinidad and Tobago to launch the 2008 Kwame Ture lecture series on Sunday, June 8th at the JFK Auditorium, UWI St. Augustine, 5 p.m. The Emancipation Support Committee invites you to come and hear this inspirational mind address the theme, crossing new frontiers to conquer today's challenges. This lecture is one you cannot afford to miss. Admission is free, so be there on Sunday, June 8th, 5 p.m. at the JFK Auditorium, UWI St. Augustine.
11 years after my experimental discovery of how to solve a grand challenge problem and how to solve it across a new internet that is also a new supercomputer and a new computer, that invention of parallel processing was reconfirmed by then President Bill Clinton, who acknowledged my invention in his speech of August 26, 2000. That speech of President Bill Clinton was delivered to the Nigerian parliament. I discovered 635 how to reduce 180 years of time to solution to 1 day and do so on a processor. And how to reduce that time to solution to just 1 day of time to solution across a new internet that is across a new supercomputer that is a new internet and that is defined as a new global network of 65,536 processors. I visualize my 16 times 2 to the power 16 email wires as pieces of firewood that connected my 2 to the power 16 processors that each contained kerosene. My scientific quest was to experimentally discover the new knowledge or the intellectual spark that will set my new internet on fire. As the lone wolf massively parallel processing supercomputer scientist of the 1980s, it was imperative that I know how my ensemble of 64 binary thousand processors were married together by my ensemble of 1 binary million email wires and married together as one seamless, cohesive supercomputer that is not a computer per se, but that is a new internet de facto. And that I know that new global network both forward and backward. That new knowledge was not known to any of the 25,000 vector processing supercomputer scientists of the 1980s. That new knowledge was the reason I could set my new supercomputer on fire. For me, Philip Emeagwali, 1989 was the year of fire. The year the massively parallel processing supercomputer became the fire the supercomputer scientists can't put out. The 65,536 simultaneously sent and synchronously received email messages were like bullets out of my eyes. Searching for the parallel processed solution to the toughest problem in calculus was like searching for a black goat at night. My journey to the farthest frontier of technological knowledge and my quest for the fastest supercomputer that is a new internet was a mathematical journey from fiction to fact to forecast. A theory is an idea that's not positively true. Prior to my experimental discovery of the 4th of July 1989, the mechanism by which 64 binary thousand computational physics codes were synchronously emailed to as many processors remained unknown and remained a theory that was not positively true. My experimental discovery of the 4th of July 1989 put to rest the saying that parallel processing is a beautiful theory that lacked experimental confirmation. Prior to my 1989 experimental discovery, parallel processing was widely caricatured and rejected as a huge waste of everybody's time. But in the 1970s, back in the 1970s and 80s, parallel processing was ridiculed as a beautiful theory that lacks experimental confirmation. And my quest for the fastest massively parallel processed computation that could be executed across 2 raised to power 16 processors was like searching for a black box in a dark 16-dimensional universe. Looking back from June 20, 1974 in Corvallis, Oregon, United States, my lone search for how parallel processing makes computers faster and for how an ensemble of 64 binary thousand processors makes supercomputers fastest was like going into the Sambisa forest of northern Nigeria alone and going there to search for the elusive Chibok girls that were held hostage by Boko Haram fighters. Parallel processing was the holy grail and the Chibok girls of supercomputing. Searching for the fastest parallel processing supercomputer was like walking at night and along an uncharted road in the Sambisa forest of northern Nigeria, and doing so armed against Boko Haram fighters with only a small lantern. My quest was for new knowledge, new algebra, new calculus, and new computational physics. My quest was also for a new computer science that could only arise from a new supercomputer that is not a computer per se, but that is a new internet de facto. My contribution to the development of the computer is this. I experimentally discovered that the impossible to compute is in fact possible to compute. On June 20, 1974, and at age 19, I was like a mouse crawling inside the supercomputer that was at 1800 Southwest Campus Way, Corvallis, Oregon, United States. Over the next decade and a half, I grew into the 34-year-old lion that was protecting the world's fastest supercomputer that I discovered to be a new internet that is a new global network of 65,536 tightly coupled processors.
Insightful and brilliant lecture.